Your Soul Purpose is a practical and engaging guide to manifesting your dream life, taking you on a journey from conception to reality. It has been designed to sit on your coffee table with style, but also provide deeper substance with vulnerable stories from my own journey and my beautiful clients, and self-discovery exercises that explore what it means to live a life that makes you truly feel alive. Let's take a look at the cover. Part of my cover design direction was this board, an earthy color palette with a hint of lilac, a modern yet fluid typeface, gold foil, and symbols that represent signs, synchronicities, and the upward spiral of our soul's journey. The earthy color palette represents the grounded and practical approach to this concept with chocolate browns and warm terracottas. These speak to the root chakra. Then we have the lilac. This signifies the crown chakra. You'll notice that it's only a hint of it too. I researched to find a typeface that was modern, but still a serif font, because I didn't want it to be too modern, as there is a lot of reference and reflection on ancient wisdom. This is a symbol that was created very synchronistically. It links back to a story in chapter 3, Signs and Synchronicities, all about receiving signs. In the original design, there were more leaves, but we paired it back to 12 leaves that represent the 12 golden chapters in this book. And it's in gold foil because who doesn't love gold foil? All of this to signify the blend of the practical and the ethereal worlds coming together. As you can see, there was a lot of intention behind the cover design. It took a few rounds to get there, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. If it's one form of creativity that I feel a deep connection to the intangible realm, whether that's God, source, the divine, universal energy, whatever you want to call it, it's writing. Writing is where I've found that I can express my true nature of what's going on in my inner world. So there are actually different phases of the whole writing process. First, there were the initial downloads, and these chapters and these parts really came to me very clearly, dropped in, scribbled them down all over the post-it notes, and just required some rearranging. This was done almost instantly, and that's when I knew that this book had to be written. All of the chapters were fleshed out in a really concrete way, and I find that most of my ideas do come that way. First, there were the initial downloads, and this arrives around 4 and 5 a.m. Then there's the part where I reference in one of my author diaries where Stephen King says, write with the door closed and then rewrite with the door open. And this really led me through the drafts phase of really just writing, letting my fingers type, and then the rewriting phase, which came in a few edits. Then there came the editing phase, which actually took longer than I expected. And then it eventually formed into these 4 parts of the book, 12 chapters, and then onto the cover design. And really looking at the color scheme of things, one thing I definitely knew is that I wanted to have gold foil. So that was achieved. So the initial phases were, some would say, probably super intense. I was waking up at like 4, 5 a.m. in the morning, having my English breakfast tea and just allowing myself to hear, to listen. This is when our brains are the most wired for subconscious reprogramming. And through my work, I do that. And so this is a time where you don't have any distractions. You don't have anyone to admit to or respond to. So it's a great time if you're writing, because you literally have you and your thoughts and yourself and whatever you feel like you're working with to write. Then came more of the storytelling and editing phase. This was a lot less intense than the initial phase. I would start at around 8 or 9 a.m. would be a typical day, and it would be the first thing on my to-do list just so that it had my pure focus, pure attention, first thing in the morning. I didn't want to work in chronological order. I actually didn't work in chronological order. So I really followed my own advice in, writing where it most lit me up. I was bouncing from chapter 2 to 10 to 3, and it was like this puzzle piece that needed to come together, and it eventually did. I actually got really lonely on the journey as well. Throughout the writing process, I didn't feel like I was connecting with other writers or other authors because it's such a solitary act. You're on your own and with your own thoughts for a majority of the day. And so I joined a writing program, and this was very helpful for me to converse with other writers, with other authors, and people who were on the same journey. I highly recommend that if you are feeling a little lonely in whatever stage that you're in, to join a group coaching course or mastermind. It really helped me. At some point, I actually started writing fiction, and surprisingly, I really enjoyed it. So who knows, maybe somewhere down the line, a modern romance with travel and depth gets birthed. I also worked with an editor down the line who really helped me bring that practicality into the book. With this, I found that my part in that was to not let the magic be taken away and to not lose my natural tone. It was great to have this grounded approach, but in that phase of my journey, I really do feel like as a writer, as an author, for you to not let it sway you too far where your natural tone is gone and the magic is not there anymore. So I did document all of the behind the scenes of my book writing and publishing journey with my author diaries, which you can view on my YouTube playlist here.